wife.
Where the fuck are we?
Well, we are in Daniel, and I believe we just read Daniel chapter 7.
We sure as fuck did.
And in that story, we had a dream. There was a dream. A dream happened.
A dream happened.
And in that dream, there were beasts. There were 4 beasts that I am aware of.
Were they fantastic beasts? Do you know where to find them?
So there was like a lion, a bear, a leopard, and then some weird horned, flying purple,
People
iron
eater?
teeth, horn growing people eater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was there, and apparently they all represent something too, and they're like different. Nations that exist, and they were supposed to get something from all this symbolism that was in this chapter. But in the midst of the chapter, I didn't get that symbolism. No. I didn't really understand what they were talking about. But then there was this like ancient of something days thing, ancient of days, maybe.
Ancient of days.
And that was maybe God because he was like white, and then he had white hair and like lots of white. So there was a lot of white there. And really what I got from the whole chapter is that Daniel needs some help.
And he clearly was smoking the same shit that Ezekiel was.
Yeah.
Because he also, one of the things had wheels.
Right.
And we were like, oh, okay, so it's God.
Yeah. The wheels on the Bible go round and round, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And I don't know why they can't, like, to me, if you want to really prove that you are given a prophecy, you make it a lot more clear than it was.
Yeah.
But this was so muddled, you could interpret it however the fuck you want to mean any fucking thing on the planet.
I really love it when I'm reading the notes and they're like, this horn means this. And I'm like, based on what? And they're like,
because we said so.
Because we've always said so. And I'm like, but who was the first guy that said so? And why did he say it?
And then the answer is, stop asking questions, you silly fucking atheist.
Right?
Jesus, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. They just decide.
Why do you want to know these things? It's God. Obviously, it's God.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Why don't you believe in God?
I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how.
Yeah, but I mean, like we've talked about it throughout the chapters. These chapters of Daniel do not make God believable to me.
No,
it's over the top. They're trying to oversell their God with regard to how much impact their God supposedly had on this Babylonian Empire and things that happened in it. And it's them 400 years later looking back and saying, wow, we really got fucked over by Babylon back then. You remember that? How we got fucked over?
Yeah, let's see if we can spin this into a thing that happened because God made it so.
Yeah.
And that it's all part of his ineffable plan.
Right. And that's exactly how it feels to me. It just feels like they're just spinning propaganda so that they don't give up too much greatness to... They don't let their God become lesser than any other entity or being.
Right.
And they're like, see how great he still was even though we got conquered?
Yeah.
That's how great he was. He was that great. They walked in, they lived through fire. This guy lived through a fucking lion's den. I mean, holy shit. How great is our God, right?
And not only that, but he fucked us because we deserved it.
Right.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
But I mean, sure.
They're so excited to be like, we suck.
They are.
And I'm like, grow a spine, dude.
Yeah. And and when they say that they suck, apparently it's just universal, right?
Yeah.
There's not a caveat for people that are good. It's just y'all suck. I'm going to ruin everybody's lives.
Yep.
But he's awesome because he also lets some people live through fire.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Like, there's a Justin Bieber song that goes, why don't you just love yourself? Which I really love that song. But then I was like really happy to find out that it actually is, why don't you go fuck yourself?
Right.
With regard to Selena Gomez and their whole breakup way back when.
Yeah.
And I can't help it. I like that song. I'm not a fan of Justin Bieber, but I do like that song.
Sure.
And it's like what I want to sing both versions of it to the people back then. Like,
right.
Why don't you go love yourself so that you stop being just an abuse victim that's like, but God loves us.
Right.
And then also because the religion that you created that's coming later is actually getting up in my beeswax, why don't you go fuck yourself also?
Right, that too.
Like both,
yeah,
you know?
For sure.
Whichever version of the song fits you, do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
So that was Daniel chapter 7.
This was such an intro. I'm sorry. Yes.
It was.
It sure
was.
as fuck was.
We went the fuck off.
Yeah, we did.
So that was Daniel chapter 7, which means that today we're getting into
Daniel chapter 8.
And also one quick apology. It may be yet tomorrow before we get to our part 2 of our
Patreon.
Yeah, that one.
About Project 2025. The notes are ready. We have it ready to go. We just haven't been able to record it. And as soon as we're able to do that, we will get it out to you.
Yes. Also, we're live on Discord tonight. Mm-hmm. And we got a full house. We got all of our regulars are here. Mm-hmm. And we did change the day. It's on Wednesdays now. So Wednesdays at 10 p.m. On Discord. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Just click the damn link in the show notes and join us on Discord, and then join the event once you're on Discord, and join us on these Wednesday nights when we're doing these lives, and you'll have a blast. I promise.
Yeah, stop being so lame. Get over here.
You do have to deal with us being a bit ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
and going off about all kinds of shit that has nothing to do with the Bible or what we're doing on the live that night when we're off mic.
It's true.
When we're off live mic.
Yeah.
So yeah. But that being said, let's go ahead and get into Daniel chapter 8.
It's about goddamn time. Let's do it. All right, we are about to hop into Daniel chapter 8.
Or Daniel chapter 8.
And I must start this book, as I always do, by saying that the book of Daniel can be divided into 2 parts. Part 1 is a set of 6 court tales in chapters 1 through 6 that are written mostly in Aramaic.
Right.
And then part 2 is 4 apocalyptic visions. And those are contained in chapters 7 through 12, and they are mostly written in Hebrew.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm also going to read an intro note before I go over and start the chapter.
Okay. Sure.
So although chapter 8 is set during the reign of King Belshazzar, who probably died in 539 BCE, the subject of Daniel's vision is supposed by many to denote Antiochus Epiphanes and his oppression of the Jewish people during the 2nd century BCE.
Oh.
Okay.
So this is representative of somebody who exists when the people that actually wrote this.
Apparently.
But because we're talking about Daniel, they had to change it to Daniel's time to make it work.
I have no idea.
I'm guessing.
I really don't know.
Okay.
I'm not fully keeping up. So I'm not going to try to guess.
Well, there's no knowing what people thousands of years ago meant when they wrote something, because we can't fucking ask them.
It's true.
Yeah.
Unless you're a witch or something like that.
Or Bill or Ted. Yeah.
Yes.
Those guys can do it. So.
They have excellent adventures, I hear.
They do. Yeah.
All right, let's start this fucking book.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Not book. Chapter. Yeah.
Chapter, sorry. Yeah. In the 3rd year of King Belshazzar's reign, I, Daniel, had a vision. Again.
Sure.
As you do.
Mm-hmm.
After the one that had already appeared to me.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my vision, I saw myself in the citadel of Susa in the province of Elam. Over there.
Sure.
In the vision, I was beside the Ulai Canal.
Great. That's awesome, man.
That's where I was.
Did you have your feet dipped in it? Or what you doing?
Sure.
Okay.
Unless it was like the sin in Paris that has shit in it, in which case, no, I didn't.
Right.
I looked up. Oh, shit. I also scrolled wrong. Okay. Let me find my place. Oopsie. There's a square on your bingo board you can mark off. Life.
Oh, we forgot to share the bingo board.
I know.
I'm sorry, everybody.
So I looked up, and there before me was a ram with 2 horns standing beside the canal.
Well, at least it's not got multiple heads yet or anything.
And the horns were long.
They were, okay, yeah.
One of the horns was longer than the other, but grew up later. I watched the ram as it charged toward the west and the north and the south.
Oh, okay. Wait, was he watching the horn grow out of the ram?
Well, yeah.
What do you mean grew up later?
It grew up later. It started small, and then it was not small anymore.
All right. Okay.
I don't know.
And now it's charging in different. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just trying to
It's going all these different directions except for east. It didn't go east.
Okay.
No animal could stand against it, and none could rescue from its power.
It's one mighty ram.
It's a good ram.
Yeah.
It did as it pleased and became great. Okay. Now, I want to say something here about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Daniel's vision is of a two-horned ram destroyed by... Oh, we're not there yet.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. Okay. I'll get there in a minute.
Sure.
I was ahead of myself in my notes, as I do. Okay. The one-horned ram. No, the two-horned ram.
Two-horned, yeah.
Okay.
It's one horn's later. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. We're about to get into the one horn.
The one horn's now. The other one's later, you know?
Yeah.
That's all.
As I was thinking about this, you know, the horn or the ram.
Was he thinking about it in the middle of his dream, or did he think about it after his dream? I wonder.
During the dream.
Can you think about something in the middle of a dream? Aren't you already?
It's a vision, not a dream.
Oh,
so yes.
Okay.
Yes,
all
he
right.
was thinking.
So this is not a dream. The last one was a dream, though, wasn't it?
I believe so, but I could be wrong.
Got it.
I don't remember.
Right.
As I was thinking about this fucking ram that's running all over the fucking place, suddenly a goat with a prominent horn between its eyes came from the west.
I think we call those unicorns.
That would be a horse, though.
Unigoat?
This is a goat.
This is a unigoat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crossing the whole earth without touching the ground.
Whoa. That is a special fucking...
That's just weird.
Unigoated horn.
It's weird. I'm sorry.
Thing.
It came toward the two-horned ram I had seen standing beside the canal and charged at it in great rage.
Oh.
I saw it attack the ram furiously, striking the ram and shattering its two horns.
Holy shit.
The ram was powerless to stand against it.
Wow.
The goat knocked it the fuck to the ground and trampled on it.
Okay.
And none could rescue the ram from its power.
Huh.
So the ram wasn't as great as it thought it was.
No.
Womp womp. The goat itself became very great, but at the height of its power, the large horn was broken off.
Oh. Okay.
And in its place, 4 prominent horns grew up toward the 4 winds of heaven. Out of one of them came another horn. So many horns. This goat's so horny.
This is so ridiculous.
But
what the fuck is happening here? Like, these images are just going through my brain. I'm like, okay, it's a goddamn unigoat, right?
Yeah.
And then that horn breaks off at some point, and now there's 4 horns growing out of it.
Yeah.
And then a horn grows out of a horn.
Yeah.
It's probably going to have eyeballs or something, because that's why we do this, you know?
Well, the one that grew in the other one, it started small, but grew in power to the south and to the east and toward the beautiful land. Capital letters.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Capital beautiful, capital land.
Sure.
It grew until it reached the host of the heavens. And it threw some of the starry host down to the earth and trampled on them. What? Isn't starry host? That's like angels. You're telling me that this goat, it knocked some angels out of heaven and stomped on it? Okay.
This is a vision. It's a weird fucking vision. And again, I'm going to call bullshit on the symbolism is just too much here.
It's too
right?
many.
Like, you're not, this isn't, I get that you're trying to relate these to specific, people, not people, but tribes and
nations.
Powers and nations and all that. But it just doesn't really.
It doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's too much. You just say what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too many. It set itself up to be as great as the commander of the army of the Lord. It took away the daily sacrifice from the Lord, and his sanctuary was thrown down. Because of rebellion, the Lord's people and the daily sacrifice were given over to it. It prospered in everything it did, and truth was thrown to the ground. All right, now I'm going to go back over here and read a bit of my notes.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see.
I am interested because I'm a little. It sounds like maybe we're talking about Babylon, but I don't really know.
Right. Okay, well, let me reread what I had said. Although chapter 8 is set during the reign of King Belshazzar, the subject of the vision is supposed by many to denote Antiochus Epiphanes and his oppression of the Jewish people during the 2nd century BCE.
Okay.
Daniel's vision is of a 2-horned ram destroyed by a one-horned he-goat, referring, as explained by the angel in the previous chapter, to the Persian and Grecian monarchies.
So Daniel's having a vision of something that's going to be happening in the time when the people that are writing the book of Daniel are writing the book of Daniel. Mm-hmm. That's amazing prophecy skills there. I'm just...
But the one-horned ram or the one-horned goat is actually the Persian and Grecian monarchies.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, this is followed by the history of the little horn, which, again, is thought by many to represent Daniel's code word for the Greek king Antiochus Epiphanes.
Okay.
As he outlawed Jewish customs such as...
Did they say Daniel's code word for this person in his vision that he doesn't actually know?
Yeah.
They're calling it a code word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't with this because this was written by people that were having it happen. This was written in the time when this thing was happening.
Sure.
We already know that because the people that study the Bible figured that shit out, right? And here we're saying that Daniel, were like the people that are apologists are like, this guy who really existed is giving a code word for this thing that he's prophesizing that's going to happen 400 years later. But we now know that this was written during that time, and it negates the entire idea of a prophecy at all with regard to this book.
Okay.
In my opinion.
No,
I just, like that, that's how I'm seeing it. So.
I agree with you. I'm just telling you what the notes say.
No, it makes me angry a little bit.
I could tell.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Sorry.
So anyway, this is thought by many to represent Daniel's code word for the Greek king Antiochus Epiphanes as he outlawed Jewish customs such as circumcision, the Jewish festival calendar, dietary restrictions, and Sabbath observance.
Okay.
He made ownership of the Torah scroll a capital offense and built an altar to Zeus in the temple. His program sparked a popular uprising which led to the retaking of Jerusalem and the temple by Judas Maccabeus. Maccabeus.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're going to be reading
Maccabees.
about that dude.
Right.
Yeah. But others think that it seems more properly to apply to the Roman power in general, like not a specific name.
Okay.
By which the temple and civic spirit of the Jews were destroyed. So they think it's referring to a nation instead of a person. And I can see either way. And
I have a sneaking suspicion that if the Romans hadn't tried to subdue, Judaism, we might not have Christianity.
God damn it!
So I blame the Romans basically.
Fucking Romans. They can't do anything right as much as good as they did. Oof. All right, so remember when he's like, I saw a ram with two horns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was not a stretch to use a ram to represent the Medo-Persian Empire, as the ram was the national emblem of Persia and was stamped on Persian coins, as well as on the headdress of Persian emperors.
Okay.
And it's been said that the Persian ruler bore the head of a ram as he stood at the head of his army.
So if you take this story in the context of when it was actually written, and the symbols that were used to represent different societies and cultures and everything back then, it makes a lot more sense probably.
Yeah.
But the problem is that we're taking these things and we're translating them into, like, they don't get left there, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can take these ideas, you can say, oh, well, given that context, I can be like, okay, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like these stories are going to be taken out of context later to represent other things that we want them to represent.
Yeah.
And that's where I have an issue with some of these stories from Daniel, is that they're so vague that they have been taken to mean other meanings. Yeah. I feel.
Well, and it's hard to have a conversation with a Christian about these kinds of things because they're so predisposed to just be like, it's okay, and to excuse a lot of it.
Sure.
Like, I was trying to talk to my mom. I'm sorry, I'm going off topic here, but it's kind of relevant.
Yeah.
I was talking to my mom about how I didn't really think that a lot of the things that happened in the Bible were right or good. And the example that I gave was like when the dudes were carrying the Ark of the Covenant on the cart.
Justice for Uzzah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the cart jostled and the Ark almost fell and touched the ground. So Uzzah reached over to help pick it up. And he got smote for touching it. Because he's not a Levite.
Immediately.
Yeah. He's not a Levite, so fuck him.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really harsh punishment. And my mom goes, well, we actually just had a lesson about this conveniently. And there's more to that story. And I was like, okay, let's hear your more.
Sure.
And so she says, well, they were specifically instructed that only the Levites could carry it. And they had very specific, they were supposed to put the poles through the rings and it wasn't supposed to be on the cart and blah, 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 blah. And so, when this happened and he touched it, that's the way it was. He got punished.
And that's the same argument I got from somebody online too.
And so I was like, I hear every word that you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's still not okay though.
Right.
Like, Uzzah was just there. Yeah. I don't know how involved he was.
Right.
But he was literally trying to make sure that it doesn't touch the ground. And because
it's called a reaction.
Yeah. And because you say that, but God gave him instructions, oh, well, you're saying that justifies his death. I go, Mom, that seems like a really harsh punishment. And she goes, well, it was, but, it makes perfect sense in context. And I was like,
no, it doesn't.
I have been instructed many things that I have neglected to do, and I have never been smited.
If you could describe to me what the harm of touching the ark or God's whatever, I don't care what it is. If it's, where is the harm from someone who is not Levite accidentally touching that throne?
Well,
right?
It's not.
What is the harm that is going to be done?
It's not that he caused harm to it. The harm that he might or might not do is not the problem. It's that he disobeyed God. They all did. And so, and then another point that she brought up was that her pastor said, think of it this way, the whole group was disobeying God. And isn't it wonderful that he only smote one of them?
What do you mean they were all of them were disobeying God?
They were not carrying it properly.
Oh.
He gave them specific instructions and they were not carrying it properly. Therefore, fuck all of them. But instead of fucking all of them, I will be nice and only kill one of them for disobeying me. Aren't I a gracious God?
If I recall correctly, they were having trouble finding the booklet of Moses or whatever that he had written down or whatever at this point. Mm-hmm. And I could be wrong. It's been a while since we've read that section, but they were bringing it back from somewhere. And I feel like they had lost the book that Moses had written.
Yeah.
And then it was refound at some point later on. And I remember we're like, oh, there it is.
I think I recall, too, that it's not like they were sneaking away with it.
Right.
I think that they were trying to protect it, ?
Sure.
Something like that. Or move it to wherever they were going.
Yeah.
It wasn't a nefarious act. And I cannot get down with it's fine to smite people.
Right. No, I can't either.
Not over something that's legalistic and stupid.
Right.
You did not you didn't dot your I, so
you're dead.
You get killed.
Yeah.
You're dead. And the survivors around you be grateful I didn't kill all of you for that mistake.
Right.
I'm sorry, but we're getting back into abusive territory, you know?
Yeah.
Not okay.
No, that's not.
So I'm just, I can't be okay with this. So this whole story is just, blah. All right, I'm going on now. Okay. I lost my place again because I was going on.
I can't imagine how you did that.
All right, so a horn and it reached the heavens and blah, blah, blah. And, okay, it grew until it reached the host of the heavens, and it threw some of the starry host down to the earth and trampled them. It set itself up to be as great as the commander of the army of the Lord. It took away the daily sacrifice from the Lord, which much like Antiochus Epiphanes did, and his sanctuary was thrown down. So you could see why they refer to maybe it was...
Sure. I still don't understand why God would let this happen, because that's essentially the power that they describe that God has, God has to be letting this happen, right? So there has to be a reason why he's letting this happen. And then you get into this is where the whole thing gets muddled, is when you pick it apart and question each little thing and then try to put it all into a simple box, you can't, because there's no simple answer for history, right? History is going to encompass so many different things that have happened that you can't put them into a simple box. And if we're talking about a God who is a single entity who does certain things, it doesn't work out, historically speaking, because you can't put them all in the same fucking box.
Right.
And that's where we run into problems making God work, because if God does this here, he should do it here. But because history does it differently here than it did there, it doesn't happen the same.
Right.
Because it's not God. It's history.
Yeah.
It's
there's no consistency, therefore shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Right.
Because of the rebellion, the Lord's people and the daily sacrifice were given over to it. It prospered in everything it did, and truth was thrown to the ground. Then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said to him, "How long will it take for the vision to be fulfilled? The vision concerning the daily sacrifice, the rebellion that causes desolation, the surrender of the sanctuary, and the trampling underfoot of the Lord's people." He said to me, "It will take 2,300 evenings and mornings. Then the sanctuary will be reconsecrated."
2,300 evenings and mornings.
So that's 1,400 days. Wait, I can't math.
2,300 days.
No,
right?
no. Evenings and mornings. So
Okay.
cut that in half to get per day. Evenings
what?
and mornings is twice a day.
Well, there's only one evening and there's only one morning. They both happen in the same. You have a morning and an evening in a day.
Right, but if there's 2,300 evenings and mornings, that's not 2,300 days.
I don't agree with your math.
Okay.
I mean, because you would if you had 2,300 days, you would have 2,300 evenings and you would have 2,300 mornings.
All right.
Is that am I wrong or
maybe I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I don't know.
So that's like 6.3 years.
That's a lot of years.
If we're talking about 2,300 days.
Okay.
Which is what it sounds like to me.
Okay.
So, and I could be wrong. But I feel like I'm right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm tentatively letting you have it.
Because I generally am right.
I'm tentatively letting you have it.
I hear you.
So anyway, while I, Daniel, was watching the vision and trying to understand it, there before me stood one who looked like a man. A man, finally. We get a man, not a goat or a ram. And I heard a man's voice calling from Uli, calling, "Gabriel, tell this man the meaning of the vision." Oh, yes, please do.
Now we're specifically calling on a specific angel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Gabriel's an angel.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
As he came near the place where I was standing, I was terrified and fell prostrate. "Son of man,
You mere human.
you fucking worm,"
Right.
he said to me, "understand that the vision concerns the time of the end."
Oh.
Ooh,
Okay.
Well. While he was speaking to me, I was in a deep sleep with my face to the ground. So I'm asleep in my vision.
Okay.
I'm dreaming in my vision.
Again, we're getting into some
Meta
really
bullshit?
weird shit here.
Yeah. Then he touched me and raised me to my feet. He said, "I'm going to tell you what will happen later in the time of wrath, because the vision concerns the appointed time of the end."
Okay.
The two-horned ram that you saw represents the kings of Media and Persia.
Okay.
Medea and Persia,
Sure.
whatever. The shaggy goat is the king of Greece.
The shaggy goat. Okay. All right. King of Greece.
And the large horn between its eyes is the first king.
Okay.
The four horns that replaced the one that was broken off represent four kingdoms that will emerge from his nation but will not have the same power. In the latter part of their reign, when rebels have become completely wicked, a fierce-looking king, a master of intrigue, will arise.
Okay.
He will become very strong, but not by his own power. He will cause astounding devastation and will succeed in whatever he does. I swear to God they're talking about Trump. That fucker fails upward.
Right, yeah.
He will destroy those who are mighty, the holy people. He will cause deceit to prosper, and he will consider himself superior. I swear to God. When they feel secure, he will destroy many and take his stand against the capital P prince of princes.
Okay.
Yet he will be destroyed, but not by human power. The vision of the evenings and mornings that has been given you is true, but seal up the vision, for it concerns the distant future.
This is just a hypothesis, okay? I'm just throwing this out there, right? Mm-hmm. So what if, look, there's people that are stupid and they just follow people because they have I don't mean to call them, I do mean to call them stupid. I'm not trying to degrade them for being stupid. I'm just saying that some people are going to follow regardless because they are drawn to power and they don't want to think for themselves exactly. And so they're just like, lead me, tell me what to do, right? But some people in power, some people that know better, mm-hmm. could it be the whole idea that the idea that they love Trump so much, right? Mm-hmm. Could it be that they think that this is part of the end times?
And so they're glomming onto them because they actually believe that he is this quote-unquote powerful figure of the future.
If you build it, they will come, right?
I mean, it could be because, like, my parents are very excited about the whole, like, Russia might invade Israel or something, and then that means the whole world is going against Israel, and apparently that's something that happens in Revelation. I don't know because we're not there yet. Spoilers. Right. And then they're like, so we're very excited about the end of the world. End of days is awesome because we're getting raptured. I mean, fuck you, but we're getting raptured. Totally going to heaven.
It could explain why some of the groups of Christians that you would think would never even entertain supporting someone like Trump
are supporting him because
of
the time.
That was just, it's just an offhanded thought that I had as we're going through this and we're talking about Trump sort of.
Right.
But is that a possibility? Like, do they possibly support him because he maybe represents, in their minds,
the end of days?
The end of days.
That is an interesting theory, and I wish it was stupid. I really do.
Yeah.
All right, so back to Daniel. This angel Gabriel said that this shit takes place in the distant future. So that gives them cover when shit doesn't happen for 2,000 plus years.
Yeah, right.
Distant future, far, far away.
Right.
Okay.
And this is the vagueness that I hate. Yeah, I'm like,
right.
Whatever. You can make this mean whatever you want.
Exactly. Okay, so now I, Daniel, was worn out. I lay exhausted for 7 days, as you do when you smoke too much and you have crazy visions. Then I got up and went about the king's business. I was appalled by the vision. It was beyond understanding. The end.
But you just told us what you understood.
Right.
You told us what it meant. So apparently it wasn't beyond understanding.
Right.
And why would you say that it's beyond understanding?
I have no idea.
Is this to, like, acknowledge the fact that it's really weird and that it could mean whatever you want it to mean? Like, it almost feels like the people that wrote it were like, you know what? What if we're wrong? What if we need to make this mean something else sometime? Mm-hmm. We could just put at the end of this, hey, it's beyond understanding.
Yeah.
It's God. This is God.
Who could know?
Right? And then you can just take it and you can be like, well, let's just make it mean this. Let's make it mean that. Whatever. Mm-hmm. Who cares? It's beyond understanding. It can mean whatever we want it to mean.
Sure.
And if the world doesn't end this decade, maybe next decade, maybe next century, possibly next millennia, I don't really know. Maybe 100 millennia from now. Whatever. Whenever it ends, that's the time they're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have a few more notes that might help. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right.
Persia ruled till about 333 BCE when Alexander the Great came from the west and with unbelievable speed overran the Persian Empire.
Okay.
His Greek empire was symbolized in Daniel's vision as a goat, with Alexander as the large horn between the goat's eyes.
Right.
But at the height of his power, when only 32 years of age, Alexander suddenly died. His empire soon split into 4 sectors, which is the 4 new horns. So this sounds very
relevant. This sounds very relevant.
Yeah,
right?
The 4 new horns.
But it's also problematic if this is what is represented by this vision, right? Mm-hmm. The vision is automatically wrong because end times didn't happen, right?
No, they're coming.
Okay.
They're coming.
You can't talk about immediate events and then transition into, well, whenever the fuck it gets here, it doesn't really matter. could be forever. I don't.
Well, that's why. Okay, so Gabriel is saying, here's some vision stuff. Here's what it means, and the rest of the vision that we gave you, don't worry about that because that's distant future stuff that you don't need to worry about.
All right.
So I think that's what was happening there.
All right.
Okay, but I have some more.
This is annoying. Sorry.
It is very annoying.
Yeah.
But I have some more notes. Okay. So one of these sectors was centered on Syria. From this sector, there arose many years later a king, a little horn, who attacked God's people and even God himself, the stars of heaven and the prince of those stars, like the what is it, heavenly celestial legion?
Sure.
Is that what
whatever they were?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. This king, Antiochus Epiphanes, stopped the regular sacrifices that the Jews offered each morning and evening, set up Greek idols and a heathen altar in their holy temple, and forced the Jews to carry out practices that he knew their law prohibited. This attack on the Jewish religion lasted more than 3 years, which was 1,150 days or 2,300 morning and evening sacrifices.
Okay. All right.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
1,150 days or 2,300 morning and evening sacrifices.
Okay.
So that's where I got my math.
So what? Okay. So it is cut in half then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because they were talking about the sacrifices, the morning and evening sacrifices. There were 2,300 sacrifices. So, 2 per day. So if you have 2,300 sacrifices, cut it in half.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's why my math was right.
You were right.
Yeah. So what do you say?
You were right. I was wrong.
And what else?
That's.
I'm pretty and you're ugly. I'm smart and you're stupid. That's what you're supposed to say.
Sure.
But we're on mic, so you won't. It came to an end, not our marriage, but this this situation.
Yeah.
In 165 BCE, when the Jews regained control of their temple, they then cleansed and rededicated it to the holy worship of God.
Okay.
An interpreting angel named Gabriel then set out to explain to the frightened Daniel the meaning of the vision of the ram and the goat.
Yeah.
Which, we're like, hey, thanks, I appreciate that.
Right.
But first, but first the Medo-Persian and Greek empires had to be established. Cruel, cunning, arrogant, and powerful, Antiochus would slaughter the Jews, defile the temple, and blaspheme God. But God in his time would destroy him. And then Gabriel revealed to Daniel that the terrifying events would not take place for some time. This, however, was small comfort, and for several days Daniel lay sick and depressed at the thought of what lay ahead for his people. The end. Okay?
Okay.
So
yeah.
I needed all of those because I did not understand.
No, I agree. I get it, right? I understand that they're representing certain things. I think the problem really comes into full view with regard to the symbolism that they're using is stuff that would have been much better known back when they were writing this stuff.
Okay, you know what's happening here? It's an age gap.
Right.
It's boomers trying to read the memes that Gen Z finds hilarious. And even when boomers are like, oh, I see your skivvy toilet or whatever, they're like, I see the word and I still don't know what it means.
Right.
And then when Gen Z is like, it just doesn't. It's stupid and it's funny. Like, it doesn't translate. So what we have here is not just like an entire between Boomer and Gen Z, or actually I think it's Gen Alpha that did the skivvy toilet, a generation past Gen Z. But whatever.
I think what you're getting at is that we have a failure to communicate.
Yes, we do.
Harking back to Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Well,
did we talk about that in the Discord, or was that during the podcast?
Oh, you know what? It was during the Discord, not the live cast. My bad.
I mean, that's the problem with doing a live. You can never remember what you talked about where.
So I'll just explain what we were talking about. Right. Unsurprisingly, I could not find where I was in my notes.
Yeah.
And so I was singing, where do I go? Where do I go now? And still couldn't find my notes, but that's not the point. And then so you started talking about Guns N' Roses and how you were very excited to have obtained use your illusion 1 and 2
Right.
in spite of the parental blah 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 blah, and so that's why we were
it was
harkening
a
back to
whole
that.
live thing.
Yeah.
You guys would have been privy to the whole thing
Had you been
here
yeah.
on the live that we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not right now because you're listening to this not live. So
Unless you are live.
unless you are live, then it is right now. So either way, thank you, or get your ass over here.
Right.
Whichever one applies to you, that's the one you should do.
Yeah.
Show notes. Go down to the show notes.
And
It's in
you
the
know
show
who you
notes.
are. You know who you are.
You know who the fuck you are.
Right.
So just do it. Mm-hmm. Do we have anything else to cover?
That's fucking it.
All right. So another crazy dream by Daniel. I will be heavily looking forward to the Q&A this week because Jesus Christ,
It's a mess.
oh, it really is. All right. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will be back tomorrow with
Daniel chapter 9.
All right. We'll see you then.
Bye.